Win Anyway Live this Wednesday night. Finished a book today. A book that I have had for, probably the better part of a decade, maybe an actual decade. Harvey McKay, Beware the Naked Man Who Offers You His Shirt. Now, this is my first Harvey McKay book. He's more famous, I think, for Swim with the Sharks. He's a businessman, ran an Anvil, maybe still does, an envelope company in Minneapolis. Very famous. Good speaker, from what I understand. I've never heard him. Jeffrey Gitomer likes Harvey McKay a lot. When I'm on Jeffrey Gitomer's lives, he is always running Harvey McKay quotes up on his screen because he uses StreamYard, which maybe I should be using here sometime soon. Of course, I probably have to get an assistant. But anyway, I bought this book 10 years ago at a used store, the Ark, where you get books and clothes and furniture and whatever. And it's been sitting on my shelf until probably the end of last year. It's about 400 pages, and I started reading it just a little bit at a time. The nice thing is that they're small chapters. They're just, 1, 2, 3 pages for the most part, so I could actually feel like I was accomplishing something as I went through it. And all these chapters basically cover his whole approach to life and how to be a good employee, how to be a good employer, how to be a great salesperson, how to be a great manager, how to hire a lawyer, how to deal with any sort of problem, how to deal with family. It's basically a Bible in terms of his views on life. And it was enlightening. Now, the book itself came out in 1990, and this is a 1990 edition. So I already got it 20 years late, and I read it 30 years late. And I recognized a lot of the advice in there. And I was thinking, I've heard this before. I've read this before. But I kept having to remind myself that he may very well be the person that I've read as being quoted or heard as being quoted. Some of the ideas might have actually been his in the first place. One of my favorites that I actually just read today is that failure is an attitude, not an outcome. Now, I've heard that before, and heck, he probably heard it from somewhere else. But the point is that wisdom is from the ages. 30 years ago, this book was written. I could have read it 30 years ago. Maybe my life would be better had I read it 30 years ago. But at the same time, I'm reading it now, and I'm getting something good out of it now. Ideas and wisdom, philosophy, it's forever. We can think about something now differently than we thought about it 10 years ago, or 30 years ago, or 50 years ago. It's called growth. It's called growing up. It's also called being put in different circumstances where certain pieces of advice ring differently and are applied differently to different parts of the surrounding circumstances that we may be in. I mean, 30 years ago, I wasn't married with 6 kids. So advice is going to hit me differently. So never think that your ideas are too old to be heard or too unoriginal to be shared. Because somebody needs to hear your advice and your wisdom right now, in their situation, in their circumstances, so that they too can live a Win Anyway life. We'll see you next time on Win